The political earthquake that just shook Westminster will leave you speechless. Rachel Reeves, Britain's Chancellor of the Exchequer, has been stripped of her entire fortune by the Supreme Court in a ruling that exposes breathtaking hypocrisy at the highest levels of government. This is the same woman who crafted the most devastating inheritance tax policies in modern British history, policies that devastated ordinary families while she secretly protected her own wealth using the very loopholes she publicly condemned. The story begins with Reeves ascending to power on promises of fairness and justice. She positioned herself as the champion of working families, vowing to crack down on the wealthy elite who dodged their tax responsibilities. Standing on the steps of Parliament, appearing on every major television network, she assured the public that her inheritance tax reforms would only impact the truly wealthy. The reality proved far more sinister. What Reeves unleashed was nothing short of a financial assault on Britain's working and middle classes. Her inheritance tax trap ensnared families earning as little as £20,000 annually, hitting them with tax bills exceeding £170,000. She deliberately froze the inheritance tax threshold at £325,000, refusing to adjust for inflation even as property values soared across the country. Then came her masterstroke of cruelty, bringing pension funds into the inheritance tax net, transforming modest retirement savings into taxable assets. The human cost was devastating. Thousands of families across Britain found themselves blindsided by crushing tax demands at their most vulnerable moments. Parents passed away, and instead of time to grieve, children faced impossible choices between paying enormous tax bills or losing their family homes. Properties were sold at fire sale prices, family businesses shuttered overnight, and generational wealth built through decades of hard work simply evaporated. While ordinary Britain struggled under this crushing burden, Reeves was executing a very different strategy for herself. Behind closed doors, she activated what can only be described as a sophisticated inheritance shield designed to protect her personal wealth from the very taxes she imposed on others. Confidential court records reveal the stunning extent of her deception. She systematically transferred key assets into offshore trusts located in jurisdictions with deliberately weak transparency laws. Family properties were quietly shifted into shell entities designed to obscure ownership. Pension funds were restructured through private agreements that exploited every available loophole. Most damning of all, she used the precise legal mechanisms she publicly condemned while simultaneously shaping the laws she would later exploit for personal gain. The message could not have been clearer. There was one inheritance tax system for the people of Britain and an entirely different system for the political elite. This wasn't incompetence or oversight. This was calculated, deliberate, and systematic. Fraud on a massive scale. The unraveling began when a whistleblower inside Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs triggered an investigation that would ultimately reach the Supreme Court. What the justices uncovered went far beyond poor judgment or questionable decision-making. They found evidence of deliberate and calculated attempts to circumvent British tax law by someone who knew exactly what she was doing. If you're finding this as shocking as we are, make sure you're subscribed to stay updated on this developing story because there's so much more to uncover. The Supreme Court judges methodically reviewed financial transactions, examined thousands of documents, and interviewed key witnesses. Their conclusion was unambiguous and devastating. Reeves had engaged in cynical abuse of power, knowingly breaking the very rules she had sworn to uphold. The woman who once called tax avoidance a national disgrace had been found guilty of exactly that by Britain's highest court. The court's ruling was swift and merciless. Complete asset seizure. Everything Reeves had worked to protect through her elaborate schemes was immediately confiscated. But the implications extend far beyond her personal finances. This scandal strikes at the heart of public trust in government itself. Reeves had built her political career on claiming to represent working people, families who follow the rules, and a Britain built on principles of fairness and equality. When the moment came to live by those principles herself, she chose the opposite path. She weaponized the tax system against ordinary citizens while constructing an impenetrable shield around her own wealth. This represents more than policy failure. This is moral bankruptcy of the highest order. The timing could not be worse for the Labour Party. With the economy under enormous pressure, the cost of living crisis deepening by the day, and political trust already at historic lows. This revelation has detonated like a bomb in the heart of Westminster. The Supreme Court's decision has opened the door to even more devastating revelations. A comprehensive forensic review of Reeves' financial dealings spanning more than a decade has been ordered. If investigators uncover additional breaches, criminal proceedings could follow. What began as a policy debate has transformed into a full-scale scandal that threatens to end Reeves' career and shatter labor's credibility for years to come. Social media platforms have exploded with outrage. Across the political spectrum, commentators are denouncing Reeves as the ultimate political hypocrite. One viral post captured the public mood perfectly, stating simply, "She lied. We paid." Now the court has struck back. Protesters have gathered outside Parliament, and even lifelong Labour supporters feel deeply betrayed, not just by Reeves personally, but by a party that allowed this corruption to flourish unchecked. The Supreme Court ruling has done more than expose financial manipulation. It has ignited a political firestorm that is consuming the highest levels of government. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs and the Serious Fraud Office have already begun seizing records, including offshore communications and encrypted financial memoranda that may reveal even more damaging evidence. According to the court's findings, Reeves didn't simply make an honest mistake or fall into accidental wrongdoing. She deliberately exploited insider access and used legal loopholes she had personally helped create. One judge delivered a particularly scathing assessment, stating bluntly that her conduct undermines the very foundation of public trust in government. Now Labour faces an impossible choice. They can defend a disgraced chancellor and risk total political annihilation, or they can act quickly to salvage whatever remains of their integrity. Inside Labour headquarters, emergency meetings are reportedly underway around the clock. Leaked memoranda suggest senior party members are already preparing for Reeves' inevitable departure, not out of principle, but out of pure political necessity. Several backbench members are quietly calling for her immediate resignation, with one telling reporters off the record that it's completely over and the party faces total destruction if they continue supporting her. This isn't just another Westminster scandal that will fade from headlines after a few news cycles. This represents a fundamental reckoning with power, privilege, and corruption at the highest levels of British government. Before we wrap up this incredible story, hit that subscribe button because we'll be following every development in this unprecedented scandal. Rachel Reeves didn't just exploit the tax system that millions of families depend on for fairness. She designed it. She didn't just dodge the rules that govern everyone else. She wrote them. And now, after years of lecturing the nation about fairness and shared sacrifice, she stands exposed as the architect of a system deliberately rigged to benefit the political elite at the expense of ordinary working families. The damage she has caused extends far beyond financial harm. She has inflicted institutional damage that will take years to repair. She has created generational mistrust that may never fully heal. And for millions of families who struggled under her punishing tax regime while she lived by different rules, her actions are simply unforgivable. This was today's most important political update, and we're committed to bringing you only verified, accurate news about the events shaping our country. If this story opened your eyes to the reality of political corruption, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to stay informed about every development in this ongoing scandal.